Welcome to another episode of Transform Perspective with Kyrah. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. Typically, I have, my tea or my water or something of that sort, but today has been a day and I'm showing up and I'm here. I ain't even got my water, but I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I have the air in my lungs. We're going to work with it today. I wanted to go into the topic of connecting with nature. Connecting with nature for inner renewal. So basically, I was very overwhelmed with some things. We can all get overwhelmed. And I'm just like, what is it? I needed some fresh air. And a lot of times we need fresh air to just reset, renew, and just pause for a moment and then continue what we're doing. But we don't oftentimes know that. And so I want to talk about that today. But before I get into that, don't forget to subscribe to Transform Perspective, follow on TikTok, and follow on Spotify. Immersing ourselves in nature, getting out and grounding and connecting to nature can be very helpful, especially if you're overwhelmed and if you're inside a lot. I noticed that I was inside, it's been very dark and stuff, and I hadn't got any fresh air or just some light, and that has been helpful. Even though the irritation and stuff is still there, it still helps to just go outside and connect with nature. Here are a few ways that you can connect with nature. I would say one, start with grounding, taking off your shoes, being barefoot, and then just stepping in the grass or on some dirt or in the sand or on some rocks, wherever you are, just connecting with Mother Nature, connecting with the earth and whatever environment that you're in. I know it can be a little bit more difficult if you're in the South and, it's spring right now and we're going into summer. It can be a lot more difficult if you're in places all over the world, but specifically if you're in the United States or you're in the South. It's real hot. It's a lot of mosquitoes. I mean, you're going to get ate up out there. So I get, not wanting to overheat or get bit up. But even if it's just for 5 minutes, walk around barefoot. Take a few deep breaths as you do that, and that typically helps kind of slow your mind down and just allows you to be present for a moment. It may not work instantly, but just enjoy the outside fresh air. Not necessarily going outside to ground to get to some peaceful moment, but just enjoy being outside as if you were a little kid. If you did play outside and stuff, I remember that being the best part of childhood. It's just being outside all the time, riding your bikes, going for a walk, running, playing a game, or playing some type of sport, swimming. Do some type of outside activity or hobby so you can just get that vitamin D, that light, and that fresh air. And that'll also put you in a different headspace. Sometimes that's all we need to declutter our mind and our thoughts and just be still for a second. It's just to connect with nature. There's so many benefits in grounding, in going barefoot and connecting to the earth. I learned this really fun fact. I don't remember where from, but I was wondering why we have I don't want to show my feet, but why on our hands and on our feet, it's a lighter skin tone. Well, I came across some information years ago that had to do with us being electromagnetic beings and us kind of being like batteries, the flat side of the batteries. And that's kind of how we are. We have positive and negative, and the earth is like a charger. And so when you go outside and you ground and you connect with these parts of your body, palm of your hand and your foot, when you connect, it's recharging you like a phone, like a battery, because we are electromagnetic beings. That explains a lot because when you go outside, it just feels different from being cooped up inside, in the air conditioning or no air conditioning or in the dark, or especially if you don't have big windows or you don't let the air in or the light in. It can feel very closed off and suffocating inside. So going outside, grounding, using your hands and your feet and letting the earth recharge you, rejuvenate you, and then be able to go at whatever you're doing at a later time. Even if you're taking just 5 minutes to go outside, it makes a difference. So grounding is one way. Another way you can spend time in nature is, for me personally, I like reading books or exercising. So, finding some type of hobby or doing something else while you're in nature can be very helpful. So typical activities that you would maybe do inside, like I said, reading or playing a game, or maybe you exercise in a gym, or you exercise at home on your video or Peloton or whatever. Maybe try going outside and doing those exercises, going outside and reading that book, or crocheting, or listening to your music, or whatever you do for a hobby or in your free time. Go outside with it. Even if you're scrolling on your phone, like, let's be honest, scrolling on your phone can be very detrimental, but let's be real. We all scroll on our phone at times. Even with that, maybe go outside with your phone. You may eventually end up putting it down and just chilling outside. But if you are watching TV or something, or watch something on your phone, try it outside, It can make a big difference. But take your typical hobbies or routines or different things that you do inside and try them outside. Of course, when there's better weather conditions, make sure it's not too hot so you don't get overheated, or it's pouring raining, or, during a tornado warning, or wherever you are, whatever environment you're in. Of course, do it safely, but get outside, get some fresh air, and be able to just look at your surroundings and just pause for a second. I think that's another way that will help you kind of just rejuvenate and renew yourself from inside out and outside in. Especially if you're dealing with feeling overwhelmed or feeling stuck and suffocated. A lot of times it's just your environment. And sometimes nature is calling you to come outside and enjoy its presence in your own presence for once. And then another way that you can spend time in nature to help rejuvenate and renew yourself is just by sitting and observing nature. I think that's another way you can meditate in nature, which is just listening, paying attention to your surroundings, paying attention to what's happening inside. Whether that's like sounds and stuff in your bodies, what your mind is thinking, what you're feeling in your body, what you see and hear outside of you. There's many different ways to meditate. Meditate is just listening and being still with yourself, inside and outside. Even if you can't be still outside, at least trying to find some stillness and presence inside. A great way to do that is with nature, because if you notice with nature, it is so still and so quiet, yet so it's so fascinating, but it's so complex. There's so much going on in nature, yet it's very still. And I feel like we can be like that as human beings. So much going on inside of us internally, yet we can still find some type of stillness in it. And I feel like nature just reminds us of that, because you can go outside and it can just feel so still, so quiet, but also you see birds flying, you know what I'm saying? You hear bees buzzing, or you see animals, you see the trees moving in the wind, and you see all these things moving and things happening in nature, yet it's so still and peaceful. It just is. And so I feel like in that way, human beings work in the same way. You can learn a lot from nature just by staring at a flower, just, looking at the sky, watching the clouds pass. Just go out there and do nothing, watch, observe, listen. That's another way to connect with nature and renew yourself and just woosah for a second. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to share, because it's something that I forgot about. I really enjoy being out in nature. I know everybody is not nature people or like to be outside, but we come from nature. So deep down, there's a connection we have with Mother Earth, with the planet. And there's so many different ways that you can connect with nature. You can find your own ways or try some of these things that I do or have tried. It's been helpful. Of course, you can start to see changes and differences within yourself and in your life and how you feel as you incorporate this into your day-to-day life. You can forget, man, have I even been outside for 10, 15 minutes? We go outside to get in the car, to get out to go into buildings, and you're just constantly confined in these spaces. And after a while, things like feeling down and depressed or anxious can start to happen because you lack vitamin D. A lot of times people go to the doctor and people go to try to find help, and it could be as simple as you just need more sunlight, and so prioritizing that and seeing what it does for you could be great. So try it and let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you try in the comments as far as connecting with nature more, because it's surrounding us and it's a huge part of our life and how we live. You know, oxygen, CO2, we work together in this. So why not spend more time with nature and spend more time with yourself? So let me know in the comments below which one of these 3 things you try, or anything new that you try as a way of connecting with nature, you know, rejuvenating, renewing what's going on inside. It's renewal inside and out for your mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being, and also physical. It could be great for physical health to go outside. Like I said, with that vitamin D, it affects everything. So get out there, try it, let me know. Don't forget to like this video. Also share as well. If you're on Spotify, if you see me on TikTok, follow, leave a comment there as well on your experience or anything that you want to share. And yeah, subscribe and stay tuned for more content. Remember, it's not about perfection, but committing to expansion. Have a transformed perspective.